Hello, I want to invite you to practice Tonglen with me, an old Tibetan practice of sharing people's pain, of feeling near others in the moment of suffering, of not falling to the urge or the temptation of putting distance between us and the pain of others. Not so much coming as the savior who gives the solution or frees someone from pain. Not only that is not possible, pain is part of life, but also that's not the point. The point is to be near someone when they're suffering, to come shoulder to shoulder in that moment and share it. To, even when that is not possible, to be witness in pain and not having someone look away when you're suffering. Maybe it's a moment of connection in that case. Practically during the inhalation, so first you connect with someone, and during the inhalation you visualize you absorbing the pain that they are suffering. And then the exhale, like I said before, rather than giving them the solution for that pain, together we share the burden and we use the exhalation to become lighter. To understand that the moment of pain comes to be understood, not intellectually, but to be turned into empathy, into the wisdom that we all suffer together. It's easier to empathize with the pain of those that live lives like yours and look like you. But this is a practice that wants to take you beyond borders, beyond colors, beyond religions. So we start with the inner circle, where it's easier for us to connect with the pain of the ones we love, our families and those who are near us. And then as you feel confident in your willingness to feel it as ours and not as theirs, then you expand the circle, maintaining a beautiful degree of sincerity to not expand the circle further than what you can actually feel. We try. But it's beautiful to connect with the feeling rather than with the idea. So the way I do it, I usually start with my parents that represent both nature and nurture, the lineage that you come from, the feminine and the masculine. If you're adopted, it's the same. You're going to have a relationship with your biological parents and a different one with your adopted parents, whether it's in their absence or in their presence. So you can apply it to both. Then your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your best friend, your partner, someone who walks with you through life, someone that you keep a relationship of equality and support, and of course conflict and misunderstanding as well, yeah, when we are close to people in that way. But you know them very well because of all those reasons as well. And of course this represents that role or that person. You might have a group of friends, or you might be single, and then that role is a different role. Maybe your twin brother. So we adapt to that particular presence in your life. Your offspring, your daughter, your son, once again, if you don't have one, maybe it's your pet, your little sister, that nephew that looks up to you, those who follow on your steps, who maybe they depend on you, whom you're responsible for in a way. And see that for this practice you are connecting in the same way that whether they have felt like a disappointment to you, or you have felt like a disappointment to them, or it has been standing beyond belief, or it is standing beyond belief. The quality of the relationship itself, it's irrelevant for this. You focus on that person, on that presence in your life, on that, maybe you want to call it archetype. Then if this is going to be honest, we have to include a drawer for ourselves. We artificially project a big coat around us, and sometimes it can look like we are very full of ourselves and that we take ourselves very serious and that we are very self-centered. But often this is a result of a deep insecurity, of not really liking ourselves at all. So this practice breaks through the coat of the projected ego persona and focuses on really loving you. Good old boring, disappointing 6 a.m. in the mirror of the toilet you. Yeah. So there you have more or less the past, the present, the future. You have a sensation of sharing with the process of life. But the process of life is in context. So we're going to have the world. And in the world, of course, once again, you can start with your city. You can continue with your neighborhood, city, country. Yeah? But those concentric circles might even be your church and your community. And then you want to go bigger to those who are tolerant to your church and your community. And then you keep expanding, yeah? For this purpose, I'm going to do it in 2 different ways. We are going to take the world, and you choose a sincere size of the pain you want to take. It is possible, and I think at this point it is likely that feeling the pain of the world is not such a crazy weird thing to say. At least connected with the pain of the world, feeling the pain of the world, the pain of your city. And I like in this practice to give voice to nature, to the animals and the plants and the forests and the oceans. I feel very connected with nature, extremely connected with nature. I think pain will indicate more like us humans and our stories and ups and downs and trials and tribulations. But the whales don't have a voice. And the Amazons, it does have a voice, she does have a voice, but we don't seem to hear it. So in this practice, I like to listen to that voice. And there is, you can go with this wherever you want to. You get the picture, yeah? Whatever you feel, go there. Whatever you feel there is pain, go there. But it will not be complete unless we include our enemies or those that we perceive that hurt us or have hurted us. The bad guys, the dystopian devils, the heretic Judas, the rapist, the assassins, the evil. Because tell me, where does evil come from, if not from pain? Yeah. So we can't do this practice unless we do that. Unless we can come close to those who are hurting others and, while fully aware of the pain they are causing, allow ourselves to see that the reason they're causing this pain is because they are in pain. And imagine coming there and not feel superior as the savior or superior morally, but really come down there to deep darkness and imagine yourself full of empathy and full of compassion and full of forgiveness. That's very difficult. If we don't try, if we don't try. I like that because it's using the breath, because it's related to the inhale, then you have this feeling of kind of like burning the pain, feeling the pain and exhaling, feeling this release, this exhale. It always has felt intuitive for me to do it with a live breath, very, not just kind of mentally understand that the inhale and the exhale are doing that transition, but actually use my breath. So I usually insert this practice inside a pranayama practice. So I begin warming up the breath, and then when I feel it has a nice rhythm and a nice, like when I have woken up the diaphragm, there's a moment where you feel the diaphragm carries you, and then it's like you have a horse. Yeah? And then once you are galloping in the diaphragmatic emotional wisdom, diaphragm has deep emotional wisdom. That's how it feels to me. So when you are empowered by it, then this practice feels much easier and more powerful. I don't know, powerful for me. Yeah, it feels more powerful for me. There are moments that I might lean on the transition at the top of the inhalation when the lungs are full. That's the moment of the burning. So there I almost might visualize a flame from my heart burning, not burning as in destroying, but more like the pain is hot, yeah? So it has a flame. And then another thing in practical terms that I find really important for this practice is that during the time that you are inhaling and exhaling, if you are synchronizing with a particular person, that there is very little deviation of the synchrony with that feeling. So that brings you into a very focused state where intention wants to be stable. And the quality of the emotional visualization, the skill or the beauty of it, is where I put some of my interest. Okay, so I think I will start like that. We'll start with a few minutes of rolling the breath, and then we'll go from mother, father, spouse, friend, partner, offspring, pets, little sister, little brother, world of people, world of beasts. You see how I forgot it already? Before is me. We keep that out. And then it's going to be our enemies. And then we're going to finish at the very end. I don't say it yet. Let's start. Ah. Is not length or just power, is delicacy. Also, this practice is very emotional. So you want to allow your breath to be very alive, to shift and turn with what you're feeling. Don't lock it into a certain rhythm. Have um, a very listening attitude towards it. Listen from your heart. Let's start with Mother. Focus on yours. Even see her, visualize her. You know her. Good, bad, medium, beautiful relationship or challenging. Is your mother. Fundamental position in your life. So let's come close to her when she's suffering. And let's share the burden with her. Father, the masculine who guided you and protected you, maybe hurt you, maybe ignored you, maybe all of them. we feel their pain. We come close to them. Often, it's easy to see, as with our mothers, it wasn't easy for them. Often, even when someone does the best they can, it's just the best they can. Sometimes it's such a big love and they leave us too early. Sometimes they walk with us for a long time, and sometimes they remain in the past. I'm saying all this. You have one, or two, or several, but that represents your relationship with the archetype of parenting from the male side. In whichever way, we are going to share his pain. Connect with the love in the relationship, if you can. If not, connect with forgiveness. spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, partner, best friend, lover, twin brother, sister, those who walk the path with you in intimacy, in proximity, in partnership, in goodness and often in pain and conflict, because when you're very close to people we bump into each other, don't we? We don't need to come close to them, we are close to them. But instead of us, the outside, looking at their actions or feelings or issues, let's walk in. Let's step for a moment in their shoes. With the inhalation, we take in their pain, and during the exhalation, we make sure that we know it's not theirs only. We set ourselves right. We connect with the longing for ease and peace that we know they have. That we know we have. That we share. Daughter, son, pet, little student if you're a teacher, for instance, someone who looks up to you, someone who you care for, someone who is maybe dependent, and you have a responsibility of. This one is easy. Pets even. This one is easy. That's the one that is, please, take all her pain. I take it on me. That's easy. Yeah. Almost joyful. The flip side of it, of course, terrifying. When those that depend on us, that we care for, when they suffer, is terrifying. So, both because it's easy and beautiful, and also as an antidote to the anxiety that we feel in those times. Let's take that pain. And when we get to the ceiling of the inhalation, let it fly during the exhale. Let's go to the world now. The people. The hairless monkeys. Choose. Choose your range, choose where you want to go. Be general, be particular. There is plenty to choose from. Don't play games of any sort of high horse. It doesn't work. It feels hollow. The minute this practice feeds that I'm such a good person button, no. Choose as if you were on the ground. If you're choosing suffering, choose as if you were that person. Be that person. Be in that hospital bed or in that shitty street that smells like pee. Yeah. I find that's the bridge for me. Not with saving, not with rescuing, but peace, conditions of peace, conditions of ease, conditions of tolerance, and sensitivity, maybe courage sometimes that it takes to be there in those moments. And allow yourself to feel. This is difficult in this one, to feel how much pain there is, even if it's only a portion. Oh, Mother Nature. Home, our everything, the womb of humanity. And their beings, all of them, in their own crazy way, in perfect harmony. I mean, look where we live. It's just gorgeous, all of it so beautiful. And savage, true. She wants to be heard. She wants to be heard. So let's take the inhale to listen. And let's take the exhale, in this case, to fucking apologize. On the inhale, take all her beauty as well, not just the pain. Take how beautiful it is, how beautiful she is. two difficult ones. Our enemies, those who hurt, those who seem to like to hurt, those who don't seem to care, that causing pain is a side effect of their lives, collateral damage, and important to them. Those who maybe personally have hurt you, those who seem beyond redemption, those who do horrible things, those who we have no hope for. This is the moment that we look for that hope. And also we understand that whatever is the essence in them is the essence in me. You'd be surprised what circumstances can do to a man or a woman. So let's get down there, to the basement, to the catacombs, to the tunnels, to the dungeons, to the prisons, to the sewage. Let's see what we can do. In that moment, to at least feel that the cause of pain is and can only be an ever greater pain. And when I apply forgiveness to them, I apply forgiveness to this part of me. There is no them. It is the perpetrator in me, the devil in me, that I have to forgive. And be very clear in that moment when you go to that darkness, there is compassion, but we are firm. In that moment, I must be firm. I open my heart. I try to forgive, acknowledging my sincere limitations. I feel no better. But once you know, there's no reason to cause pain. So for as long as I come to you, to your basement, and share my pain with you, in that moment, in the bridge that my forgiveness creates, in that moment, we breathe in love. All the pain that we feel, you and me, the devil in me and the devil in you, when we share it in that moment, we breathe only love, firm. I don't go to the basement otherwise. So, enemies, darkness in me. I come close to you. Let's imagine a resolution of the wound. Let's imagine healing together. Me, you, no matter how hard it feels like to sympathize with your enemies, oof, when it comes to you, that is tricky. But let's face it, being a human being, it's an ordeal. There is a lot of pain along the way. A lot of beauty, of course, but a lot of pain. And much of it we all have to pass through. Nothing different between you and me. I would focus here really, like with all the rest, but this one especially with the sincerity of the moment. With a feeling at the bottom of things that you're right, I'm all right. The universe created a little corner around which I seem to have guardianship. Why would be any different, any worse, any better than any other bubble of guardianship? Permeable as they are, same materials. So if they are not different, then also means they share the beauty. And that which is very difficult to see sometimes in the mirror, that beauty, now is the moment to come close to our pain, to inhale it, and to feel a sensation of lightness in exhalation that is not going to take us away from pain, is not going to liberate us from pain. But it's important that within the understanding of how life is, I understand that it's nicer when it feels good than it is when it feels bad. And that in the cycle of ease and challenge, how it presents itself, in which pulsation this wave oscillates, that there might be gentleness, that there might be gentleness, that there might be ease and compassion towards me as well, towards you. Okay. Yes, moving. I'm going to add one last before we finish. This only refers to the visible, the invisible, the invisible. Oi. I don't have a map. I don't have a list. It's mysterious. But gods, goddesses, angels, fairies, aliens, ghosts, all of it. But even the idea of divinity, Who would say that God cannot suffer, right? If it's all of it has suffering in it. And if he, she, he, they are eternally compassionate, well, imagine how much pain he, she, they feel. So as an offering to our teachers, to the world of the beyond, and to God itself, to the Tao that cannot be named. Maybe we cannot name it, but we can be close to it and have a relationship of empathy and compassion with absolutely everything. To life. Endless gratitude. Utter humility to the core of every bone. Humility. What was the quote of the Dalai Lama? Act, feel as if the whole world depended on you, and then laugh at yourself for being so silly. Something like that. Thank you, life. Thank you. If you have practiced this with me, it's not easy, but I think it's a very important practice. So if you are crazy enough to be sitting on the other side doing this, wow, amazing, thank you so much. I actually think we've reached the time where that is no longer crazy, but very sane. And no, I haven't forgotten. Today, this comes at the end. The practice begins when we sit up, when we stand up from this cushion, yeah? Let's call this training. And now, stepping into the world is the place where we put this emotion. Where words and thoughts and intention becomes reality. Maui, don't get scared, okay? Let's practice. Very clumsy. I hope we do it better out there. May all beings be happy. May all beings find peace. May all beings dissolve in love.